Welcome back. This is the GSL Code A. We had a really interesting best of 3 to start off our broadcast here, Wolf.
Yeah, a really defining best of 3. Like that best of 3 series is a good way to explain like everything can and will go wrong. Like sometimes in a best of series, you just have to really be on top of everything the whole time. Action, somebody we have seen in Pro League like twice. He's been on the roster a few more times than that, but KT just like got all kills and he didn't play. Really hardworking player, one of our Toast's favorites, and he's going up against an old timer for StarCraft II, Squirtle, a GSL finalist and ace player for IM.
Probably one of our best finals of all time against MVP.
Yeah. Definitely a fun one. Action also famous for wearing like a Murloc suit and getting beaten up by Stork. I mean, not Stork Flash, excuse me. The revenge ceremony against Stork where Flash beat up Action in like a Godzilla suit with a ruler. Right, he actually had a yardstick it was, but that was him in the suit. Well, Squirtle looks confident here, and I'd say he's pretty highly favored going into this best of 3.
Yeah, definitely a fan favorite here as well. You know, not just his skill, just people love to see Squirtle, love to see what kind of strategy he's going to use, and love to see how far he's going to get. But he's going to take down this guy right here, Action, in GSL Code A. Over here in the upper right, the water Pokemon, he is
Squirtle.
Squirtle.
Down the bottom left, in the blue, his opponent, KT Rolster.
Action.
Looks really tired today. I've been preparing really, really late tonight for his matches.
A lot of these guys do that. Hardcore, you know, all-nighters, just making sure the strategy's perfect before they, you know, come in here today. Sometimes I've seen players who I think actually have been up too late preparing, and then they haven't slept well. I mean, having the right amount of sleep is pretty important.
Squirtle uses Protoss.
Protoss is pretty good.
See how it works.
I don't think the Koreans understood that sign. And to play Pokemon.
You know, I never played Pokemon like in Korean. A lot of my friends in Korea did because you know the Korean version came out with a new one on the DS, and you could actually change the language.
I would never. That was like the one game that missed me. Everybody, Dan especially, whenever I'm casting, there's always like, you got to play Pokemon. I'm like, yeah, I want to. I don't exactly have time.
I'd recommend emulating it on your phone. Actually, just do it, play on the subway or something. It's not a hard game.
No, I mean I'm sure it probably isn't. It's mostly intended for kids,
right? I just mean it's not time consuming. Well, let's see how well this cannoning works.
Oh,
She's
God.
Not so shy.
Well, let's see what happens now.
That was a good little wave. Okay, so making the four building wall, one of them being an untargetable building, so it's gonna have some trouble breaking through this one. There's the cannon cancel. We'll remake. Now the probe can move freely.
And from here, that cannon in the back can make the second.
He like made another drone after he saw the. Okay, well this is smart.
Yeah, he's just gonna. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I think sometimes it's questionable to cannon rush on a map with a gold base because they could just go there. I mean, I guess he could cannon rush again, but
oh, this is so tricky. He's like just gonna take this base. The squirrel's gonna think, oh, you're just taking this base, and then. Wow. Oh! That was a mistake.
That was a mistake. Sorry. Somebody who hasn't played Hearthstone yet, it's like, why do they do that?
I love the quotes in Hearthstone. Actually, how do you feel? I don't think I've ever asked you this about there being a lack of chat in Hearthstone.
I think in Hearthstone it's good.
I love it because you can also then just like add the person after the game and talk to them.
Yeah, there's so much unpleasantry overall with strangers via strangers on the internet that I mean that's something to keep in mind.
The funniest thing is, you know how if you play a Hearthstone game with somebody after the game, it shows you their friend code so you can add them if you wanted to. And so one time I played this really close game with a guy, and he added me afterwards, and I was like, you know what, I'd love to chat with him, and maybe he wants to play some more games. And it was the first time and the only time I've ever added somebody after they added me, and I accepted, and he said, I just want you to know you were lucky, and you have no skill.
You have no skill. I am so much better than you.
I'm so much better than you. And I'm like, do you want to go again? And he's like, no. And then it says, this user has blocked you or something. I'm like, wow. Well, he's just going to do the roach push, by the way, just like we saw in the previous.
Well, I mean, it parlays pretty well because you get so many extra minerals right away from that gold base. The number of roaches you can get is pretty insane, and you can usually start to end the game before even like the Stargates been factored in as something that's affecting everything else.
Yeah. Well, I wonder, like, if this build is even really good on this map. We saw 2 players do it again, back-to-back, and so if you cannon rush, it's hard to punish the gold base that gets taken afterwards, unless you can, like, cannon and contain the Zerg so he can't get another probe or another drone out there or something, like, because now he's just going to struggle the same way to hold this push. I think Squirtle will respond properly, though. I think he's going to make cannons more so and then just be ready.
I mean, it's funny because it looks a lot easier to stop than it actually is.
Yeah.
I think because the answer when it's explained on how to hold this stuff is actually very simple. It's just you have enough cannons to hold it. But the problem for a Protoss player, especially a pro one, is being willing to cut back on teching so quickly and making probes and just forcing the cannons out so that you know you're safe. Because not every Zerg is going to do this, even though, like we said earlier, with the balance of minerals on the gold base versus the gas you're getting, you can get a lot of roaches very quickly. It's not always as easy to get those cannons up like you'd think that it would be as easy. Okay, so honestly, this game might turn out very similar to our previous game. Now, look, he does have 2 force fields, but this is a pretty big area. He can attack the pylons. Oh my God!
He's a force field. Whoa! What was that?
That was like a fastball thrown by the roach there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he breaks through and kills a bunch of probes here. That's the bottom line. Another force field comes out. He's going to live for now, but the damage has been done pretty significantly. Now it's a 3-base Zerg up on Harvesters, one of the bases being a gold base. Tech is a problem, though, as the Immortals do start to pop out here, and Squirtle may just go into an Immortal push off this. It looks like that's what his plan is, 2 Immortals.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I think the Immortal push might be a mistake. Okay, look, here's the problem. This all goes back to that cannon rush. Yes, that's very annoying for the Zerg. Yes, you can almost 100% stop them from getting that hatch-up. But then the Zerg just goes to the gold base. The Zerg can't just go to the gold base as the first base he takes on this map.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. That's why they put the gold base so close to the center of the map, because it's very pushable if you try to take it. It's a risk. It's in fact not really a risk if you try to take it after a cannon rush like this. You've already spent all this money on the cannon that we see right here in the double pylon wall.
Oh so man, Squirtle has to make 4 pylons right now to keep making his Immortals too. This is really expensive.
Yeah.
Double pylon dies. And his +1 is a long way away. He might have wanted to hit with these 2 gates and the additional Immortals, but like, if he wants +1 to be part of this, he's gonna have to have a little bit more time than that. All of this is seen, by the way, by this Overlord. For those of you guys, wondering, like, is this totally a secret? No.
Okay, he's going to clear up a lot of different counterattack points here on the map. He definitely wants to move that Overlord. So this way, the action can actually hit Squirtle from behind if Squirtle does attempt to push forward. Squirtle, by the way, is now pushing up. We do have the upgrades here for the Hydras.
Yeah.
And
Hydras are going to be a good way to hold this actually with that extra boost in mineral income.
Yeah, I mean, again, the way the gas and the minerals pair up together, yeah, you can get a lot of good defense.
A bit sloppy losing this Overseer, well, unless he doesn't lose it.
And see, this makes it tricky here for Squirtle, because Squirtle's aware of the presence of these roaches and lings, wants to warp in forward here so he can hit that gold base.
Use to protect these sentries. What is he
Oh my God.
Wow, 3 sentries go down for free, it looks like.
Oh, just 2, actually.
Just 2, but still a very painful loss.
Now,
and the bigger pain, almost than losing the sentries, is just the slowed attack. He needs this to hit as fast as possible. So many lings here.
I'm not feeling good here for Squirtle.
Never say never with an Immortal push, but
yeah, well, you get the right splits with the force fields, and there's a lot of tricks you can pull off. Trying to bait out some of these force fields here.
Of course, it's not the best. That's much better.
Oh, that was actually the exact kind of force field he needed. He cut off the Queen. In fact, a Hydra slipping in from the right side to the left. Oh my God. All right. Thought that Hydra was going to get away. Building statues of him all over Charsara. Legend.
Guardian Show goes up here, and he's got enough for a time warp. Decides to not use it yet. Without the Warp Prism nearby, he's not going to be able to reinforce this attack. This is a really razor-thin hold here. But I think with the next wave of Hydras,
It's hard to say.
5 more, though,
well,
actually.
I mean, how does he reinforce here? He doesn't have a warp prism or anything like that we
He's
could
warping
see.
from home and walking across the map.
And I mean, it's really up to the Zerg to just get in there and intercept. Now, the warp prism is being warped in, and it's going to be about a moment away from finishing. The question, though, is that, can Squirtle get in there and do the damage? Right now, the army size and supply are virtually even.
That Overlord doesn't get down.
Okay, now remember we only have 4 sentries, excuse me, here. 3 Immortals, the rest are Stalkers. He needed to have this come in here. This is very nice. No Zealots in this army. And he does not have Blink, by the way.
Yeah, worker count very low for the Zerg, but he's just got this massive Hydralisk count. He just keep doing the damage. The Zergling's tanking exactly how he wants them to, and with these Queens at the back, with Transfuse plus that extra range damage, can he hold here? It's just not enough tank for the Hydras.
Yeah, he does have a good angle here on these Stalkers on the upper right. 1 Immortal does go down. He needs to regroup, though, here. There's just enough bulk in this army that it can tank most damage. He got to go to the main. This is impressive. If he goes up into the main, he can force. No, maybe he can't force field the ramp.
He lost the Warp Prism again, so he doesn't have.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even notice that. Good call there, Wolf.
So he doesn't have any more reinforcements.
Well, the problem is I don't know how many more force fields he really has left.
It doesn't look like he has any right now.
So, I mean, what's he got to force field the ramp and then hope that he can win the fight here? And, if he loses this fight up here, I think the game is for naught. I mean, let's see how many workers he can actually kill off right now. A lot of these drones are taking heavy damage here.
This just goes to show that with this composition, unless you have force fields, the comp is weak.
Yeah, it really is.
And
I mean, you just lose the fight. The force fields are really the backbone of the Protoss' strength early on in rushes like this. It's not just that, okay, Zealots are strong, they sponge up damage, Stalkers are fast, they can deal a good amount of damage, Immortals are great against units like Roaches. It really has to do with the force fields and how you then let all those units engage the rest of the army.
There's a reason why Terrans and Protosses wall off. There's a reason why we see these structures like this at the wall. It's because walls are what stop Zerg units. And the Sentry makes an artificial wall, an artificial structure, really, for a brief period of time that makes a wall. And without that, Protoss struggles to fight. Now, this is a missed force field, but a good attempt nonetheless to actually start ripping the tech out.
Problem is, though, the Zerg's counterattack over here is actually pretty
Mothership Core needs to save that.
Yeah, he needs to get a Nexus Cannon if he can. He's going to get the Hydra Dent. He probably wants to get the Pool and the Roach Warren next. Ideally getting some drones along the way. Okay, this is becoming a base trade right now.
You know, with the Mortals popping out here and more Stalk Stormmen, if he can get the Nexus Cannon, I think he can hold. But the thing is, the Zerg's still on a gold base. The base at the bottom right there as well. He's fighting with some probes here. The Stalker's trying to help out. Mothership Core goes down, but I think he's going to push this back.
Yeah, it looks like he will just barely push this back, and I believe the main is just being given up on. Now, he's actually going for a Spire behind this, which is an interesting pick, because I think Action will probably just stick with Stalkers for the time being to push out, which I think will make the Mutas not useful.
He needs to pull away from Broodlings. I can't. Okay, so I'll say I'll never live with myself as a Squirtle fan if I lose a Sentry to a Broodling.
You lost a fan today. Okay, now he's going to go for the spawning pool. If he just keeps force fielding that ramp, he can keep making Stalkers at home. It should be a very straightforward way he should push at. But don't forget, this is a gold base the Zerg has.
Yeah.
Oh my God! That was about as close as you could get.
The force field pushed the Zerglings back down the ramp. That's how close it was. This gold base is almost mined out.
Oh, wow. Excuse me. Yeah, he is almost mined out the gold base. So the gold base is not going to be a major actor now in this game. He's not going for that Roach Warren, by the way.
I think that's okay. Well, I mean, if he's just going to sit here, then he might as well be, but I think he's trying to decide if he wants to like, lift out and go somewhere else.
Okay, the Spire's done. We have 4 Mutas coming out here. He's got enough gas banked up for just a little bit here, about 3 more Mutas.
What's on that scout? That was pretty cool. 4 Mutas alone?
Well, he needs to hide the Mutas until the last second. He needs to completely blindside his opponent. His opponent doesn't have any anti-Muta defense in his expansion, excuse me.
I don't think Action can win this game because he doesn't have enough. Well, he's going to get force fielded out. Nice! That was nice.
He actually really needed those Zerglings. They would pair really well with Mutas.
Well, I think that's it because he doesn't have any income. Look at the income tab at the top, or not the income tab, but the like display at the top right.
Yeah.
He's just not going to have enough minerals to make the Mutalist switch that he wants. There's already so many Stalkers on the map.
He's going to give up the gold base, and I guess he might try to come back here and save at the last second his other base. Now maybe if he gets enough mutas over here, he could take out all the probes and remake that. And I have to say, with the fact that Squirtle's actually turning around is not a good sign. No, with this many Stalkers, this game's done. Never mind.
He gets a sentry at least. Looks like Squirtle's Ignite is a concern. He's just going to go over here and make a beehive with those force fields. I don't think Action comes back here.
I think we're going to have GG momentarily here. Action, it's all the pieces are going to register here, and he's going to realize he can actually not win this game.
Hatch will go down, and then just move to the last mining base here. Killing this base isn't even that important. Killing the music that comes out is much more important. It's up to 12 now, but look, I mean, 4 more Stalkers warping in here.
So he's trying to attack over here with everything else he has, the Hydras and everything else. That's going to trigger the probes to come out. The Stalker number is just too great right now. GG.
All right, not quite enough. That was a really close game.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to cast, actually. Nicely done there by Squirtle. He wins game number 1. Action got to be frustrated with that. It was a lot that happened back there. It started out with a cannon rush that did force that other expansion to not, become a major economic, input here for Squirtle. But then, Action took the input here for Action. Excuse me. Then Action takes the gold and another mineral base, and this is what we've been talking about since today has started. Is the gold base? It's very easy for the Zerg to take if they get cannon rushed, and then they have a lot of minerals coming in. They can get a lot of roaches and lings. They can do that aggression, even if it doesn't work. Whatever, the Zerg's on a gold base.
The attack that Squirtle put on totally flopped, but the warp prism in the main base was
I thought Squirtle was dead after that attack.
He
over the main was taken out.
I think he was just like, let's hope this works, and ask any Zerg player who plays the high level. They've had 1 games where they just lost because the warp prism came in and they didn't see it.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is just how powerful Force Field really is it turns a base like that into an island temporarily. I mean, if you didn't have that drop, if you didn't have a Nidus, you didn't have something to go between the 2 locations, you lose. I mean, it's not the easiest thing to do, but in the heat of the moment, just keep the force fields at the ramp, take out all their tech, because early game, that's where all the tech is for Zerg, is right there.
Well, Habitation Station is the map pick here for Action, which is kind of a funny one. We'll see if Squirtle decides to take the gold base early on. We've seen a lot of pros do this, like Parting, for example, the most notable.
Yeah, very effectively. And this is one of the maps where Protoss can take the gold base right away.
So I'm really liking we have these gold bases back again here. Looks like Blizzard and some of our map makers decided that was something that it's coming back into.
I think it's time now. I think it's time to bring the gold maps back.
I think so too.
And now we're going to go on to that map, Habitation Station. Squirtle, old school, against Action, who you may be less familiar with here at GOMTV.